What's up, everybody? Welcome into another edition of Crush City Territory. I'm Chandler Rome, joined as always by Tyler Stafford and the Astros' newest outfield instructor, Josh Reddick, fresh off of his first day on the field in West Palm Beach, working with the Astros outfielders. Josh, did you wear baseball cleats? And how much are your feet hurting?
They're not hurting as much as I thought they would. I had found some old turfs that were already broken in at the house, so cleats are definitely not going to be worn this week. That's a whole different kind of soreness and pain. For those that don't know, just putting on cleats for 3 hours a day is no easy task. Just walking around. So I don't need the back pain, but no, it was pretty good. I kind of just hung out and in my turfs and talked to some guys and walked around some more.
Did they call you coach?
No, I did get called sir quite a bit, so that was a wake up call. And as much as I appreciate the respect, I told them all, I was like, "Look, guys, like I appreciate it, but I'm not ready for that. Not 40 yet, so let's just hold off the sir for a while."
Well, there's a manager who's like 35. You gotta step it up,
That's
right?
different though. That's a manager. I'm not a manager. If I was a manager, I mean, and even then, you don't really say yes, sir. I guess most. I don't know. I don't know. Some players do. Some players don't. I mean, I'm not ready for it. I'm not ready for the sir comments just yet.
What drills were you running out there? What were we doing?
We ran several drills. They do it kind of differently here. They do outfield. They did outfield stations yesterday, as opposed to when I played. It was all outfielders in one big group, and we did all our workouts together. But they seem to have everything spread out, running in a station thing now. So it's kind of like they get more individual work as opposed to more standing around like we had in the past. So everybody's constantly moving, which is actually kind of nice. It keeps you kind of moving, keeps you refreshed. You don't do more standing around as an outfielder, because if you don't know how spring training works for an outfielder, we are the lowest on the totem pole when it comes to everything. There's only so much we can do. We're waiting on pitchers, we're waiting on infielders. So usually when the outfielders are done, we just go back to the cage and get some work done. So, but it was good to see the moving parts coming in. We did just some route running, left, right, back angle, straight back, straight forward. We did some, they call them drop drills, where you get the guys in the outfield. Two coaches go to home plate, flip a fungo ball, and one coach hits them, and they just react off the bat. So we were working on reaction times like that. And that was one thing we did in the morning, and then went back in. Boys got some lunch, and then we watched the game. And I just spent the game watching whoever played the outfield and reading how I thought they should be running off the ball and doing all kinds of things. And I'm still learning names, but I did have a nice conversation in the dugout with one of the younger kids. I have to remember to get his name. I can't remember what
Cam
it was.
Smith.
It was not Cam Smith, because he was starting. Younger kid, I think it was a non-roster guy, but didn't play, but just had plenty of questions, was just picking my brain. So that was good to help the game not only go along faster, because we know these spring trainings are slow. Spring training games are very slow, but asked some really good questions, and he wasn't shy about getting out there and just digging deep into the arsenal of, the short book of knowledge that I can offer.
Anybody surprise you? Like anybody make some plays out there that you're like, oh, I didn't know you had that in you?
No, there wasn't. Nobody really got challenged yesterday. I will say I didn't know that they were working Brice Matthews with the outfielders. So that was kind of a shock to see him coming out there, but he looks clean out there. He looks very smooth, very athletic. I mean, we've seen the athleticism in that kid, and he seems to have put on a little bit of weight / muscle this year. So he seems like he's filled out a little bit, but he floats out there. He's quick, he's soft on his feet, and he really does go get the ball from what I've seen. But I haven't seen anything. Maybe tonight with the night game against Venezuela, I'll get to see some moving parts out there.
Yeah, we saw obviously last year the big headline was Cam Smith switching from the infield to the outfield. But if Brice Matthews is going to make this team, and if he's going to have any sort of a regular role, which Joe Espada still maintains, and he's maintained this for his entire managerial tenure, that if he's going to carry young players, he's going to carry guys that are prospects, then they need everyday playing time, because he would rather their player development continue at the minor league level where they can play every day as opposed to the major league level. But with Brice Matthews, you kind of run into the conundrum of, you look at what he has done in AAA, and you kind of wonder what more is there that he can do in AAA. He's taken 546 AAA plate appearances. He, age-wise, he's going to turn 24 years old and next week, actually. Happy early birthday to Brice Matthews, friend of the pod. But he's going to turn 24 next week. I mean, this is not a situation where this is a kid anymore. I mean, this is a guy that was a first-round pick, and they've got to kind of see what they have in him. This isn't probably not in the situation anymore of just let him play every day. They've done that for 2 years at AAA. So as we'll talk about a little bit later and tomorrow when we have a special guest on the pod, the roster is still unsettled. There is a chance that Brice Matthews becomes a pretty integral part of the outfield if some other trades happen, if some roster machinations. But that's interesting to hear that you saw him you've seen him for 1 day, Josh, and you come away impressed. I guess what is we talked about a little bit with Cam last year, but when you're going from infield to outfield, Brice Matthews has probably never stepped foot in the outfield, and if he has, it's not been for anything meaningful. What's the biggest transition? What's an infielder got to learn as he goes to the outfield and to kind of take control out there, especially in center field where you're the captain of the outfield?
Well, the good thing is for him is he's getting his work in center field, and that's the easiest one of the three to react off the ball, read the ball the right way. When you go into the corners, you have those balls that power hook, power slice, the ones straight at you rise, the ones right at you dive. It's just a matter of figuring out which one's which, and those are the hardest ones, are the ones right at you. But for being in center field, it becomes a little bit easier where you can just go get it. And, he doesn't have to worry about the corners and having those balls that, a Joey Gallo power hook that just kind of, dies at 130 miles an hour. But just watching his routes and the drill alone was you could see the difference in the guys doing those drills, and he was obviously one of the better guys at just turning the right way, making his feet move the right way, because everything works in unison, as we all know. But the way he was moving without standing up straight, getting his posture right, and just staying down and going to get the ball, but just watching him run direct routes, not a banana route, just going straight to where the ball would be was what I was really impressed by, because that doesn't come naturally. We've seen it a lot with Cam Smith, how great he runs routes. But just watching him do simple drills right there, you could tell he's going to be somebody who's got the ability to go and get the baseball, especially in center field.
What's a banana route?
It's shaped like a banana. You go around. You start. Let me get my camera. You start instead of going directly to the ball. You start and go around to the ball.
That's how you go around first, too.
Shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So,
they taught you that, and they taught you that at Georgia.
They taught me that in like middle school in Georgia. Yeah. They waited a little longer, algebra. But we got there.
Y equals MX plus B. Come on.
Exactly.
Now. Sure. Did Zach Cole call you sir? Because that's the one guy that I would imagine would call you sir.
It was not. It was not Zach Cole. It was not Zach. It wasn't any. It was. I want to say it was the kid I was talking to in the dugout, and I feel horrible because I don't remember his name. I feel bad if he's ever hears this or watches or listens, but.
Jake Myers.
No one watches this. No one watches this.
Hunter Brown's dad watches. He's going to tell on us.
But no, there was just a couple of young kids in the dugout that just dropped it out there out of habit and out of respect. So I tip my cap to those kids. They were brought up right, and their parents told them to respect their elders, and I respect that, but I'm just not ready for it.
I heard Joe gave you a nice little introduction to the team in the team meeting yesterday. What was that like to be on the other side of that? Because I'm sure you sat in that clubhouse a lot and had to listen to managers introduce guest instructors, introduce visitors to camp. What was it like being on the other side of that?
Different, very different, very odd. But it was fun. It was a very warm welcome. Got a nice round of applause from everybody, but it was a great one. Just talked a little bit about my career, how long I played, Gold Glove, World Series. So those are always great accolades to hear when your name's being associated with them. But, I'd already talked to most of the guys at that point, so it was cool. I walk around and, one of the first guys I see is Jose, get to give him a big hug. And then, not long after that was Correa, and just seeing all those guys was cool. Given all the guys that I played with, going up talking to Lance about, where his year's going and where he's at in life, like that was just some great feelings to get to see those guys, not only see them, but talk to them, catch up to them, because, we're all at different stages in our lives now where we have families and we have kids, and we're just doing this thing left and right from baseball to family. So it was a good transition to talk to those guys, but getting in there and getting kind of pulled out in front of the whole crowd was definitely something different, but it's always a good thing because the welcome was very well received and very warm. And I felt like I was a part of their crew from the get-go.
If you didn't know you were old, it probably hit you when, you're talking to Correa and Lance, the young bucks from when you were around, who are now the old guys on the team. Probably hit you pretty quick.
It does. It's a nice little wake-up call, and you kind of feel your age when you're in that atmosphere as a, we'll call it an instructor. We're not going to say a coach. We'll say instructor. When you're instructing some guys that you played with or were close to playing with, and then you look around and all these guys are brand new draftees or non-roster guys that are 21 and 22 years old, and then you flash back to, gosh, 18 years ago, 16, 17 years ago when my first big league camp was. So it all comes full circle, man. When that's the thing about this business, you get older, everybody else seems to stay the same age.
Hunter Brown pitched yesterday. How'd he look? Hit 98, I saw.
First inning 98 too, like second hitter 98. I was like, man, somebody's feeling
Chill
pretty
out.
good.
Don't do that.
Yeah, he looked good. He had, I think, we had one walk.
Mhm.
Lost the guy in a 3-2 count. I think he just lost a fastball, but looked good. Had a couple strikeouts. Gave up 1 run, I think it was 1 run. Yeah.
That sounds right. It's spring
How does
training.
how does it feel to watch an
fine.
entire spring training game that ends in a tie?
Awful. My first ever, actually. First time I've been in a full-time 9-inning spring training game in a long, long time. But, yeah, and you keep looking at your watch and like, man, it feels like it's 4 o'clock, and you look down and it's 2:15, and it's it's the freaking 4th inning. You're like, oh my gosh, this is going to be forever. But so it's been a long time since I've done that. But man, it's kind of depressing when you get to walk off the field knowing there was a tie. But it's a spring training. You completely understand it. There's no need in throwing another guy out there and getting hurt for the season. So everybody got their work in, and that's the important part. But it is always kind of a downer to see a tie in a baseball game, no matter where you're at.
How'd JP France look? That's his first time out
Very
in a
good.
while, right?
Very good. He from what I saw, I haven't been able to watch him in person yet, but watching him in person, a guy who hides the baseball very well. He had a lot of uncomfortable looking swings against him. But the curveball, I mean, like I said, it was a curveball or slider. He possesses, worked really well. He threw it ahead in counts. He threw it behind in counts. He threw it, like, I think 2 times 3-2 to get 2 strikeouts. So I was.
Oh, you disappeared, Josh. I don't know what you did, but your mic went out.
Sorry,
Yeah, Josh.
my wife
There we
was
go.
FaceTiming me. Sorry. Yeah. Wife was FaceTiming me after I told her I was on the podcast. She don't pay attention.
Get
But
her
no,
on. Come on.
his 2 innings were great. Like I said, he hides the ball well. He throws that off speed in any count he wants to, it seems like. I think, like I said, he threw it a couple times 3-2 for a couple strikeouts. So really good outing for him.
I'm sorry, Jet. Apologies to you for wanting to FaceTime Josh. We have him for a little bit longer. But I think that's a bigger point. The pitching has been again, with the caveat that it is spring training and you don't want to take much from results one way or the other. The Astros rotation has pitched very well in spring training. Lance obviously got on the mound. I believe that was Saturday or Sunday. Touched 95, was around the zone, only threw 1 inning, but for what they asked him to do, he pitched well, was around the zone.
So we agree he can touch 95 in 1 inning.
Shut up. He's a starting pitcher. Shut up. Mike Burrows continues to Mike Burrows is, again, don't want to be a prisoner of the moment. You don't want to get caught up in spring training stats, but 5 scoreless innings to start, 6 strikeouts. He gets the ball and goes. There is no dilly-dallying between pitches. There is no taking of deep breaths, walking around the mound, fiddling with hats and things. He goes. It is a quick pace with him. I think it helped that in his second start, he faced the Pirates, whom he knows very well. So, but Mike Burrows continues to impress. Christian Javier will pitch against Team Venezuela tonight. That'll be his first Grapefruit League start. Tatsuya Imai will pitch later this week, I think in Jupiter against the Marlins. So you'll get to see him again.
I get to see some guys go this week. I got the lineup going. I got the stud pitching going. I get a good view this week.
They're going to let you write a lineup card?
I did take the lineup card out to the umpires last night.
Hey, there you go.
Joe came up to me and says, hey, we need some momentum. And I didn't give him a whole lot of momentum, but
Hey,
He's
you
like,
didn't
you know what you're
lose.
doing. He's like, you know what you're doing, right? I was like, yeah, absolutely. End up with 3 and get 1 back. Yeah, this is easy. So keep Joe out of the sun for a little bit more.
Are they
Jose,
gonna let Are they
let's
gonna
see.
let Altuve be all-time second baseman tonight?
He's not
Or
playing.
He's not. He's off tonight, I think.
come on, let
Which
him just hang out
he,
there at
he's
second.
he's probably off the next 2 days. He's probably off today. He's definitely not making the trip to Sarasota tomorrow.
No.
So he's got a nice probably 2 day stretch before he plays back at home on Thursday.
Yeah, that Sarasota trip. Are you driving or are you going to take the bus?
Uh, I don't know yet. Joe said I have I could ride with him if I want. So that might be a nice
Ooh.
car ride to hang out with Joe for a couple hours and just catch up and get to know him a little bit. So I think I'm going to take him up on that and hop in his rental car and leave mine here at the ballpark.
Grab the ox and play Crush City for him the whole way.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to be Bluetooth connected to the speaks the whole time.
Yeah. So Jose Altuve won't play against Team Venezuela tonight, which is a little bit of I guess, a disappointment.
Ooh.
But I can't. I don't know how it worked out. I don't know whose idea it was for him not to play, but I would imagine this is me speculating. This is me just kind of thinking out loud. Jose Altuve really wanted to play for Team Venezuela in the WBC. He made that known very, very much. We have talked about it here. We've written about it. The insurance was a factor here. That is the main reason he's not playing. But don't get me wrong, Jim Crane and the Astros organization also were, nudging him toward not playing as well. Carlos Correa has come out and said that Jim called him to ask him to focus on the season. Jose has not said that one way or the other, but I can't imagine that Jim Crane only called Carlos Correa in talking about this. So, I think Altuve basically said, if you're not, again, this is just me like hypothetical, like this is me like educated guess. You're not going to let me play in the WBC for these guys. Like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. And I can't blame him for that, because that would have been really tough for him to play for the Astros and look across and see guys on a team that he wanted to play for, that he wanted to represent his country, and he can't be on that team. That would have been, I think, tough for him to compartmentalize and really, even though it's a spring training game, even though the stats don't matter, that would have been a hard game for him to play, I think.
Yeah, you get heartbroken about not being able to play for your country, because we understand we see how big a deal these World Baseball Classic tournaments are to these guys, and it almost seems like when they're playing for their country, it's like they're playing for the World Series all over again. So, I completely understand him not wanting to do anything like that, and who knows, him playing yesterday, getting out there is definitely not worth playing 2 days in a row. It's not late enough in spring training for 2 days in a row anyway, so they could line it up to where it works in his favor. That's not saying Altuve is not getting work. There's plenty of backfield works, as we know. They could be facing live pitching in the next 2 days just to keep him locked in. But yeah, I'm with you. If I'm speculating anything for Altuve, it's probably he doesn't want anything to do with it. He probably comes in, gets his work today done, says hello to the guys over there on the other side while they're in the gym weight room working out, getting ready, and then takes it to the house. So there might be a little
let
bit of
him
a
lead
grudge,
off both halves of the first inning. What are we doing? Let them
I'm all
give him
for
a
it.
split jersey. Just let him go for it. Who cares?
He'll see a combined 2 pitches anyway. Like,
Great.
It'd be quick.
Exactly. Yeah.
The one thing I have seen from Altuve, though, again, like I am not in West Palm. I have not watched these games, but in the highlights and the things that I have seen, and it's something that Jose talked about when he reported to camp. Everything contact-wise I have seen from him has been up the middle. It hasn't all been pulled. It's been a lot of line drives up the middle. It's been going the other way a little bit. And he talked about when assessing what went wrong for him offensively last season, he talked about that he was way too closed off. He was stepping toward the plate. Basically, his back was to the pitcher, which made him really pull happy. He couldn't really see. He couldn't really diagnose pitches because of that. So he's opened up a little bit. He's trying to step straighter. He always has a natural kind of step toward home plate, but he hoped that if he could step a little bit straighter and keep himself a little bit more open, that could let him use the field a lot more, could let him get some more plate coverage. Not that he needs better plate coverage. You can put the bat on the ball basically anywhere. But I do think, while results do not matter, I think kind of how these guys are making contact, kind of what it goes into the results, I think matters a little bit more. And to see Altuve going up the middle, to see the contact where he wants it to be on a line up the middle, I think that's encouraging just in the fact that he has probably made those stance adjustments. He's made those step adjustments and it's paying off for him, albeit first couple weeks of spring training.
Yeah,
I'll
go ahead.
know. I'll know when he's locked in when we see the tongue flick. When he's up there waggling and giving us one of these, that's when we know that he's locked in.
Yeah, he looked fine yesterday. He got a hit, I think, in the 6 hole yesterday on an off-speed pitch, a little off the end, but stayed through it really well. Drove it to the left field. I think he did hit one maybe up the middle towards second base yesterday. But yeah, like you said, this is not a result-driven, I don't want to say industry because it is, but like especially in spring training for these guys, you could come out of here hitting 060 and it's not going to matter as long as your swings look great, you're swinging at good pitches, and you're hitting the ball hard. Saw a lot of guys hit the ball hard yesterday. They didn't have a lot of hits to show for it, but man, the wind here has been. I forgot how bad the wind here this is at this ballpark because it's like blowing into third base. It's not blowing like straight in, but it's coming from like center field into third base, so it's just killing everything that gets hit to the outfield. There could have easily been at least 4 home runs hit yesterday, but it just wasn't in the cards with the wind blowing. But from what I saw, man, everybody's already taking really great at bats for it being a couple games into spring training games.
Yeah, I think I saw the first second inning, Carlos crushed a ball. Carlos crushed a ball to right field that just died.
I think the guy took like 5 steps back and then coming back in for like 3 steps, and it was probably hit. It probably was hit over 104, 105 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm. So, Josh, I mean, you've had one day, so you'll be there for the rest of the week. What will you be looking for, I guess, as you look at this young outfield group, as you look at Cole, Cam, Jake Myers, Joey Loperfido? Those are probably the 4 guys that if camp ended tomorrow, those are probably the 4 outfielders on your opening day roster. All of them have major league experience. 3 of them not as much as Jake Myers, but what specifically are you hoping to see from them that will give you a little bit of optimism and hope that these guys can that the experience level maybe doesn't matter, that these guys can, if they are the 4 guys on the opening day roster, that they can hold their own and hold that position all season?
Oh, I mean, if we're talking about roster making and improving, I'm watching at bats. We can work on defense all we want, but at this point, I think offense is going to take priority over defense right now. But from what Joe has told me, get out there, work with those guys. If you see something that needs a little bit of improvement on the defensive side, get in there and talk to them. So I'm just watching their pre-setup, watching how they react off the bat, watching how their routes are run, who they're throwing the ball to, are they making the right decision getting the ball in, how quickly they get that ball in, but mostly at bats. Like if I'm worried about who's going to make the team, I'm watching how these kids are taking at bats. That's going to be the biggest factor for me looking in and whether I'm going to make that call for the roster or not. So not even just games, going about how they go about their day, like just kind of like silently sitting there and how do they approach their cage work? How do they approach their outfield work? Like, because, work ethic speaks a lot of volumes in this game, not only just talent wise. So if you're just in the cage to hang out and not getting your work done, that's a different story. But just floating around outfield, floating around the cages, and just chiming in whenever he says, I feel like I need to chime in. And if these guys have questions, and feel free to tell them what you know. And that's kind of my job right here this week, is kind of just to float around cages, outfield work. And then as the game progresses, just find an angle so I can get a look at every guy that's out there playing at the right time.
Did you get to direct any traffic from the bench of the outfielders? You get to position anybody?
I did not. I helped the I think it's one of the minor league guys who's kind of running shop with Clarkey since JB's with the classic team right now. So I'm just kind of standing top step, letting him do his thing, but also like talking to him as well, talking a little bit with Dave, and just kind of understanding how these guys function, how they work. So I have a better understanding of how I can kind of approach them and understand what they're doing out there. But I haven't moved any guys yet, but I did give me and Clarkey had a great talk yesterday about and you probably remember this, Chandler, back when Clarkey was the outfield guy for like 13, 14, 15 or whatever those stretch was. And it always looked like he had one of those like floating dog training toys, like the orange ones that they throw to the dogs that jump off the dock. And so I remember like all of us in Oakland were just making fun of him. Like, this is what they have to use to move their outfielders. And, we obviously took it a little farther because, like, if you just yelled, they could hear you because there was nobody in the stands. But that's neither here or there. So I said, hey, was that a floating dog toy you used all those years ago? And he goes, no, it was actually a towel and like the orange pre-wrap. So I'm kind of bummed that after 12 years that I've been making fun of this dog floating toy and it wasn't even a floating toy. So it was good to get on the joking side of things as well, being able to kind of get out there and kind of have some laughs as well as be serious at a time. So no directing traffic yet, but we will see. We'll see how many people make the trip tomorrow. Maybe I'll get that role tomorrow.
Do you have a good coach whistle? Can you blow it out there?
What is this, basketball, soccer, or whistles?
No, I'm
and
saying
baseball,
like
Tyler?
I want the like.
Oh no,
I want the old.
No, no.
Every little league team's got one guy that can just blare it.
The thing that works best I've learned over my career playing is not the whistle, it's not the yell, is when you just like especially if you're out there, if you just give it like a little really loud, outfielders and infielders like perk up and it's like, oh, somebody's trying to get my attention. So that was me and Springer's thing. That was Springer, like all our guys' thing. Like if we needed to move or something, then we would make sure we heard that noise and it was a little bit more distinct than the whistle because whistling fans whistle. So you just got to make sure you find something different.
There were many fans that when they figured out you were going to go be a guest instructor, their first response was, "Yay, we love Josh Reddick. He should manage the team in a couple of years." Like they're all very excited. And then their next thought was, "Is he bringing Michael Brantley with him?" So
I've seen that a lot.
I guess I have to ask: are you going to get Mike to come from Port St. Lucie to come to camp and help out?
I don't think I'm going to get Mike to go to camp and help out. I am going to get Mike to somewhere meet me in this week to have dinner with me so he can buy me dinner.
Yeah.
Because he made more money than I did. So it's on him. But
did he really make more money than you?
Oh, yeah.
Stand by.
He played like 2 or 3 more years than I did too. Like his last year was when they won it, right?
Yeah. 2022 was his last year.
Yeah. So he got at least from that stretch another full year and a half more than me. And I think he was up before I was and was up more consistently in like the 09, 2010 stretch too. So I don't know how much it is, but I know he's made more.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. According to Baseball Reference,
he's doubled you up. Yeah. He owes you dinner.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't even a debate that Michael Brantley made way more money than I did.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of
you had to slum by with $66 million, Josh.
Yeah. And Mike,
I never said I was hurting.
That rules, dude. How cool is that? You made $60 million playing baseball. That's so cool.
Yep.
And Mike made $112 million. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
Good job to everyone.
2 good players. That makes sense.
I spent less time on the DL, if that helps. And I'll let him know that too.
And I mean, you both had, 2 of the best defensive plays in ALCS history. I know Joe mentioned one of them yesterday when he introduced you, the throw to get Brett Gardner. A lot of look, you started the relay, but that throw by Carlos.
Oh my gosh.
Absolute seed to get Brett Gardner.
And I told Joe that I said, I appreciate the love for that play, but that play was all him. And that was, and it's funny because I had actually forgotten about that play. I forgot about that play because it gets so overshadowed by Mike's rare diving catch that he never makes in his whole life. So and obviously I'm not taking anything away from Mike's catch. That catch was unbelievably well timed and a perfectly great catch. So it just shows you the playoff atmosphere that was ready for Mike to get out there. But yeah, it did get overshadowed, and I had actually forgotten about it, like I said. But it ended up being a big swing for us, and big momentum swing for us. But yeah, when he brought that up, I was like, oh yeah, that did happen. So pretty cool.
And Joe would know because Joe was the Yankees third base coach who, at that point, the third base coach is not telling Brett Gardner go first to third, but Joe, I've talked to Joe about this play, and he said he had he said he didn't even think Carlos had a chance to get Brett Gardner. And that was when Brett Gardner was still, I wouldn't say young, but he could still move a little bit. This wasn't old Brett Gardner.
No, he was above average fast.
Yes.
He was still plenty of fast.
Yes.
Fun fact, I was at that game, Josh. I was up there going nuts. So I saw that.
Was that the Verlander? Was that the Verlander game?
Yes,
Yeah.
I've talked about this. This was one of my favorite days ever because it was an afternoon game. Went to that game, ended in the walk-off, and then I walked from Minute Maid to the theater district in downtown and met Alicia to see John Mulaney do stand-up over there. It was a great day.
What a great day for you.
It was
That's
wonderful.
a long hike too. That's a hike
Yeah.
too.
But I wasn't gonna. I mean, the traffic was crazy. It was easier to just
true.
walk. But yeah, pretty good day. I walked in like as the show was starting. It timed out perfectly.
This isn't a baseball question, but now since we're talking about traffic and games like that, are pedicabs not a thing in Houston?
Are pedicabs a thing anywhere?
No pedicabs. They're the
It's
ones
the
you pedal?
bicycles with the seats
Okay,
behind you.
okay.
Like
Oh.
they are because they're big at NRG. You go to an event at NRG for a rodeo or a concert, they're everywhere.
There's a few, but the parking around Daikin is like you kind of have to go a ways. So I've done it before with Olivia just so she could ride in one, but it's like $20 to get back to your
Worth it.
parking. Well, I mean, at that point, yeah, when you got a tired kid, sure. But there's not as many as NRG.
Because there used to be when I was with Oakland, we stayed down at the Four Seasons, which 6-7 blocks away from the ballpark. Like I was excited. I'd go out the left field bleachers, and then why are we smiling at me? I'd go out the left field bleachers and hop in a pedicab and take it straight back to the hotel instead of hopping on the bus. So I don't know. Maybe I just don't see them anymore. But I think it's a genius idea. Who wants to walk back to their car after they've had 9 Brock IPA beer? Or I'm not a beer connoisseur, so I don't know if I did it right. But
or one El Tiempo $25 margarita.
that too. Or if you just had it too much, you don't want to walk to the parking garage. You want to get in a pedicab. So
Get you one.
I digress.
This is your side gig for the year. When you're not working, just hop out there, crank some tunes. People pay big money to ride with Josh Reddick around.
It'd be at least 50.
Mm-hmm. That seems like a great deal.
Speaking of the Four Seasons, Josh, that Four Seasons bar. Whew. It's one of the better visiting. As I know I've been to many visiting hotels where you guys normally stay, but the Houston Four Seasons bar that's up there.
I actually haven't been in there since they renovated.
Oh, really?
Since they've redone everything.
Oh, yeah.
I was old enough to be going to the old school bar / restaurant, and that was plenty for me. So, but no, I haven't been there since they've redone it.
They have a Dr. Pepper old fashioned at the Four Seasons bar. It's incredible.
That sounds amazing.
I know you would like it, of course.
Yeah.
So tonight, the Astros play Team Venezuela. Whatever. The lineup is what it is. But the coaching staffs that are being the dugout, I think that's the more interesting part. So the Astros will have Josh Reddick on their coaching staff tonight for Astros Team Venezuela. Omar Lopez is managing Team Venezuela, as we know. Listen to the staff that Omar has assembled, and I wonder whether they should just play the game with the coaches. Robinson Chirinos is his bench coach. Miguel Cabrera is his hitting coach. Victor Martinez is his assistant manager. Johan Santana is his pitching coach, and Gerardo Parra is his first base coach. Omar could run his staff out there, and it would be a formidable lineup. Josh, where would you hit in that? Obviously, Johan would pitch, but where would you hit in that?
Where would I hit for Team Venezuela?
If you're going with the coaches, if they're running the coaches out there.
If I'm running the coaches out there, okay. So Parra's leading off. Miggy's hitting third, of course.
Victor Martinez.
Second. I'm hitting
Robinson
second.
Chirinos.
I'm hitting second.
You got to get a little speed in front of.
V Mart's hitting fourth.
Yep.
And then you drop Charity to the 5-hole.
Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good team.
Parra, myself, Miggy, Victor, Robinson Chirinos. Johan Santana on the mound. We may only need 5 hitters and 5 position players.
I saw Johan Santana because they did like a winter meeting. They did like a thing at the winter meetings where all the WBC staffs are made available to the media. I saw Johan Santana. That guy could probably still give you 5 innings.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
He was so good. He was so good.
And he'd only throw about 88 and throw a 72 changeup up there and be completely fine.
Did you ever get to face him, Josh?
No, thank the good
Yeah.
Lord above.
Yeah, I can't imagine as a
I wouldn't
lefty.
have either. If I
No.
was up when he was still up, they'd been like, "Hey, Red, just go down there.
No, thank
Go
you.
down there." Yeah. Mm-mm.
Did Yordan work with the outfielders yesterday, or was he? I know
He
he DH.
did.
I know he
He
DH.
did.
How do you
He had
look?
his glove on. He took some pop flies and he looked fine. He did about what you'd expect out of Yordan Alvarez in left field. Nothing overexerting.
Good.
Ran through the routines, did everything good, but looked fine. Arm looks good. He was letting it eat a couple times to me. Of course, I brought my glove, and I was on the bucket, so he threw a couple of balls at me pretty firm. So he seems to be feeling okay. Did all right. And if they were too far and too hard, he just get him off the wall and throw him right back in. So he's
Mhm.
right where he needs to be in his defensive work.
I want it known you're not allowed to let him get above a jog out there while you're coaching.
I think he's aware of that. I
Good.
think he has a very good self-awareness of where he should and shouldn't be, and
Good.
he stays right in that green spot. He never gets even close to the green arrow.
I don't need him impressing you out there.
I'm a
No.
bad judge of this stuff, but he looked. I mean, again, I saw him for like 4 days before I left camp. He looked like he slimmed down. Looked like he trimmed up a little bit. Like it looked to me like he was a little slimmer. Now, again, with Yordan, it's all relative. but
It's
I
hard to
don't know.
tell.
Yeah. Maybe fixate on that today when you get to
Mhm.
the facility.
I'll just
I
hang
want
out in the locker room and just
Mhm.
wait for
Just
him to take his
ask.
shirt off.
There you go.
Just like this for like 20 minutes. Just wait.
Boots
Yeah.
on the ground reporting. Let us know. We
Someone-
already
one- one
know
of us-
Brice Matthews is bulked up, so we need all your scouting report.
Yeah, one of us has to have boots on the ground.
Mhm.
If I'm not going to
Cleats
be
on the
there.
ground.
But no, turfs on the ground.
That's right.
Turfs.
Josh will have his turfs on the ground tonight when the Astros take on Team Venezuela, which I believe will be on Space City Home Network.
I think it is.
It is on Space City Home Network. So
You gonna get mic'd up from the dugout?
you should.
I might. I've already seen, I've seen the crew, I've seen the reporting crew, I've seen, Sparky. I talked to Robert Ford yesterday. I talked to TK. So I might get a couple interviews, maybe a little live action.
There
We'll
we
see what
go.
happens. We'll see what happens. But TV game, I'm going to be top step. I got to get
Yeah.
the TV. I got to get the TV action tonight. Got to let everybody know that I'm down here. Maybe an extra button undone,
Mm-hmm.
just for everybody out there. But let's not be real. Let's not be shy. I'm going to be seen. I'm going to be on the camera tonight.
Hell yeah.
Of course. Are you in a jersey? I mean, are you in a jersey?
No jersey. I get the pullover,
Mm.
little long sleeve pullover.
But
Don't want
you
to
got a locker.
be in sunburn.
You have a locker in the coach's locker room, right?
I do. I am in the coach's locker room.
Good job,
right.
Carl.
I'm right behind Braca, so never a dull moment behind Braca Mane. But that was another cool experience too, being on that side. I've never been that far back into the coach's room, so I'm in uncharted territories of this locker room, and I got to see Victor Rodriguez, who I've known for almost 20 years now. He was my hitting instructor with Boston, so to catch up with him was great. Even he was talking to hitters, telling stories about me when I was a young kid and all this stuff. So the old Josh stories are coming out, and it's kind of weird. Not gonna lie.
Steal me one of those pullovers. Bring it back with you.
Steal one
No,
of them. All right.
yeah,
I'm not
nobody-
stealing anything on air.
Okay.
If the old Josh stories are coming out, that means it's time for us to end because it's getting not safe for work. It's getting not safe for families. So
That was pre-social media.
yeah.
Mhm.
So catch Josh in his guest instructor glory tonight on Space City Home Network as the Astros are going to take on Team Venezuela in an exhibition from Cacti Park of the Palm Beaches. Josh will be in West Palm Beach for the rest of the week, helping out with the Astros outfielders. Tomorrow, we'll be back with another episode featuring Ken Rosenthal. Ken Rosenthal will be on tomorrow to talk. Ken was in camp this past weekend. I was not, but Ken was in Astros camp. He wrote a column today that is on The Athletic about the Astros infield logjam and about kind of where he thinks they need to go. Spoiler alert, it involves a trade. So we'll have Ken on. We'll have Ken on tomorrow to talk about his column, to talk about his observations from Astros camp last weekend, and just where he views the team in its life cycle and its organizational life cycle. But until then, you can follow me on X at Chandler_Rome. You can follow Josh at JRedDubDouche. You can follow Tyler at Tyler C. Stafford. Please rate and review us on Apple and Spotify. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Please like the YouTube video. Those both help us out a lot. Again, we'll be back tomorrow with Ken Rosenthal to talk about his view of the state of the Astros and their infield surplus. But until then, watch the Astros and Team Venezuela tonight on Space City Home Network, and we will talk to you soon.
Bye.